All right, so we've got what should be a relatively quick hitter here. We're going to look at multiple clips in order to demonstrate the propagandistic efforts of The Hill, aka The Show. I think the reason they released the show in clips instead of ever just running it through is because it would be too obvious, the contradictions in the reporting and the opinions and the conversation. What you see, they give contradictory opinions in their radar segments, which are very corny anyways. And then they'll also be like, I totally agree with you. Within the response to someone's radar. And it's just like these things can't both be true. So we're going to take a look at a couple clips from yesterday and then one clip from today. They are all related to the Hunter Biden laptop, Twitter shit, whatever. Not so much about that. So first off, we have Batya here. What you're going to see is her making the case that is not a First Amendment situation because the government didn't ask for it directly, etc. We'll start off with that. So
this was proof of the highest form of corruption. As he put it in a tweet responding to those examples, quote, "If this isn't a violation of the Constitution's First Amendment, what is?" I'm sorry, Elon, but not this. The Biden campaign actually comes off better than I would have expected. Of course, more might come out, but for now, it seems like they didn't ask Twitter to suppress the laptop story. Twitter did that all on its own. In other words, the Twitter files was just a more detailed version of a story we know well. Twitter worked very hard to suppress a story that Twitter employees thought made their preferred candidate look bad.
So something interesting is going on here. She's basically saying what Karine Jean-Pierre says in the press conference. They'll critique in today's segment, which we're going to take a look at, which has Bree on it. She's saying that we already knew about all this. We already knew that there was this favoritism. We already knew that they had suppressed this story. So why is this even a big deal? And it's like, yo, people were treated like conspiracy theorists for talking about this, treated like insurrectionists, and now you're acting like it's old news and it's not a big deal that it's confirmed. It's whether or not someone has been paying attention or cares about the story is one thing. I wouldn't try to take the time to convince someone to care about something like this if they already seem just disconnected from it in the first place. But when the internal documentation from Twitter comes out, that's certainly a big development. And to downplay it in the same way that Karine Jean-Pierre would eventually do, I think just demonstrates how much of a corporate shill, propagandist, trash non-journalist Batya Ungar Sagran is. Fucking garbage coverage. We're going to fast forward a little bit because there's only so much bullshit you can take from Batya here. We're going to fast forward up to 3:58. We're trying to keep this stuff, we're trying to keep it quick.
Made as clear as Taibbi did just what was not in the Twitter files. What the files do show is the same egregious behavior we already knew Twitter engaged in. They revealed how deeply captured the company has been by the left. And this understandably makes conservatives see red, but not everything.
See, so this is the framing that The Hill should be famous for, at least among their viewers. The Hill are what I would deem dialectical enforcers. And so no matter what the news story is that they're covering, they're constantly trying to shove it into either a left or right, left or right for your direction as the viewer. They're trying to shove it into one ideological camp, even when it's just not working that way. I'm not a conservative person. And I found this whole Twitter covering up this story, suppressing it situation extremely frustrating. But a casual viewer who's not as critical of the media that they're consuming would watch this propaganda and they think, oh, conservatives are outraged about the Hunter Biden laptop story. No, not the case. Many people from all across the ideological and political spectrum are frustrated about this story. And it's just extremely basic, low-hanging fruit propaganda to notice. You can see this kind of smile that she's cracking. She's in the middle of a word too, but I mean, she's happy about the propaganda that she's delivering. These people get off on this shit. Let's let her finish her sentence here. But again, downplaying it, acting as though this is old news because it's confirmation of something that was long rumored. And I mean, to act like that's just not a big deal, or there's nothing notable about that, is dishonest journalism.
That's unfair, is unconstitutional, or a threat to democracy. It can both be the case that Elon Musk is righting a grievous injury that's been done to high-profile conservatives
in her little propaganda hyper-reality she's creating for the viewer. It's only conservatives who were injured by this action of suppressing this story, and that's just simply not the case. Whether or not you want to characterize it as injury is one thing, but again, that's just yet another effort within 30 seconds or so of trying to restrict the range of people that would be frustrated by this story into one ideological camp of conservatism. To keep things short, we're going to fast forward to about the 7:40 mark, and this is going to be an important part of this clip here, because this shows what the Hill does. See, this is pretty much your standard radar segment. It's about 10 minutes long, and about 3/4 of it is going to be somebody giving a very protracted argument that faces no pushback, and so they're able to create the foundation for a conclusion which may or may not even be related to the actual story. So in this case, we've gone from her trying to downplay the fact that there's no government interference, right? And then downplaying the fact that the confirmation of rumors that were just conspiracy theories is a big deal. And then she just shifts completely to talking about China. So within the span of a few minutes, she's created this environment in the mind of the viewer in which the real issue with the Hunter Biden laptop story is that Elon Musk is friendly with China because they create or control the minerals for electric car batteries. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, so we're going to get back to this, and what we're going to catch is your standard response to a radar segment. It's rare that one of the journalists on the show will finish a radar segment and the other host will say, I'd have some hard disagreements with you, and it's this and this and this and this, and then they debate those. What usually happens is they say, wow, that's such a great segment. You really did super awesome there, and pat each other on the back, and it's a big circle jerk.
Very wise words, Batya.
All right, so off the bat, we got wise words.
I really like how you point out the First Amendment issues here at stake. Not quite First Amendment issues. I totally agree with you that it's great that...
All right, so not quite First Amendment issues. He highlights that part. He says he particularly likes that part. And then he's like, I totally agree with you. We've got propaganda verbiage. He's going to finish this sentence.
Elon Musk is shedding more light. The more we can understand about what happened with the Hunter Biden laptop story debacle, the better. It was clearly bad.
It was clearly bad, but...
Does it violate the First Amendment? Honestly, you'd have a better case that the Trump people asking Twitter to take stuff down violates the First Amendment because they were actually the people in charge of the government at the time. Now, in reality...
Sure, if that's the case, fucking ring them up too.
Everyone makes, content moderation requests.
Sorry. Now we're going to go to Robby's radar segment. He just said he really liked the fact that she brought up it's not a First Amendment issue. Now, let's take a look and see what they have to say about Ro Khanna's involvement and the communications from him that were included in these release documents.
A backlash like nothing they had ever seen before. Representative Ro Khanna, a progressive lawmaker, repeatedly emailed Twitter communications staffers to complain that the firm was violating First Amendment principles. He raised...
Okay, so they're going to this is access journalism for one thing. They always interview this fucking Ro Khanna guy. So of course they're going to give him huge props and fucking lick his balls. But, he points out that they're violating First Amendment principles, and we give them fucking a bunch of pats on the back. But, in the segment that you just did, you totally agreed with someone who downplayed the idea that there could be any First Amendment concerns here at all. So this is a direct contradiction in their coverage. This is like, there may have been a segment in between. I'm not totally sure. But like I said, this is why they release these videos in segments. They know that if someone was to watch the show the whole way through, the fucking cognitive dissonance would make their head explode like that movie Scanners. Fucking, there's no way that it's not a coordinated effort to keep the segments far apart so that the viewer isn't aware of the contradictions here. And then, fucking rest assured, at the end of his radar, which is probably about 7.5 minutes into this 10-minute segment, she's gonna fucking say, man, I totally agree with you.
Very valid points in his communications with the company, though strictly speaking, the First Amendment...
His points are valid. It's like, if his points are valid, then there's reason to be concerned. We all know it's already been decided that undue influence, as opposed to a direct, explicit request for censorship, is also a violation of the First Amendment, not just the spirit of it.
Not apply in this situation, and he was complaining about the First Amendment. Net Choice, a tech industry trade association, explicitly told Twitter that
now we're going to go to today's segment, and we're going to take a look at what they have to say again.
In a bipartisan way for various things to be taken down, and frankly, the hero of it all in terms of Congress members seems to have been Ro Khanna, who was the one raised.
Oh, Ro Khanna's the hero. Ro Khanna's the hero. So let's see what he's the hero about.
His hand and saying, is there actually some metric here that is based in constitutional law or something that is actually being used? Based Ro Khanna. We'll have to follow up with him and see if he has more to say about that. But before,
like I said, it's that access journalism. They'll have to follow up with him. See, they know they get interviews with him all the time. So we're going to do one thing just for curiosity's sake. I made a prediction a minute ago, and I did watch this segment yesterday. Okay, so Batya starts talking. Okay.
and this has to have, social media companies have blood on their hands if they don't do something about it. And we're seeing those same people now reacting with a, how dare you bring this back up? It's so telling.
So, I completely agree with all of that, but to me, that is why the Twitter files actually don't matter that much.
She totally agrees with everything he said, and that's why it doesn't matter that much. So, I won't even go into it too much more. Tried to keep this short. We're under 15 minutes, and we're going to leave it there. But we've shown them highlighting the fact that it's not a direct request from the government to suppress one story. The things that they directly requested, even though it's also said that it became a habit for the Biden team to send over things. So I think the other shoe is going to drop, and Batya is going to wind up looking like a fucking idiot, even though she already does look like a fucking idiot. And a shitty propagandist, and Robby's a shitty propagandist as well. I hope that we've pointed out some of the contradictions in their coverage. Till next time.